Hi everyone, Dr. Janessa here, naturopathic doctor, and I am very excited to be bringing you a multi-episode series with an in-depth look at blue light screen time and how those two relate to your health. So what I've done is I have taken a deep dive into the research, and I really want to share some of that information with you. So what I've done is, with the help of some visual aids, I've done just that, and I've brought that forward. So we're going to look at the research, but I'm also going to include my ND insight. We'll go into some background information. We will talk not only about the potential concerns or negative influences with respect to our health, but we'll also talk about the cited positive health attributes when we're talking about blue light. Okay, and then we will wrap up the series by talking about practical ways in which to improve your health when it comes to blue light. Okay, so if you have any questions, please ask away through social media, and also let me know what you guys think about this way of presenting information and wearing my doctors as teachers hat. Okay, and then also another final housekeeping item before we dive in. To be clear, all quotes within this presentation are surrounded by quotation marks, regardless of the length. Okay, so here we go. Starting with some background information. So what do I mean when I'm talking about screen time? I mean the screens in terms of smartphones, tablets, laptops, computer monitors, flat screen TVs. They all have that common link of using what's called LED lighting. LED stands for light emitting diode. It's a relatively new form of lighting, as it does have various benefits to it. So less heat is generated through the use of LED lighting. It's more energy efficient, and it also has a much longer lifespan. How that relates to blue light is blue light LED is used to produce sources of white light. So the short wavelength blue light is part of what we often see as white LED light. So, it may, when we're looking at these screens, it may look like white that we're seeing, but there are those elements of the blue light contained within that white light. Okay, so that's what blue light is, and, stemming from that LED light. Now, I also wanted to touch on melatonin. So no doubt you have heard about melatonin. Perhaps even you take this natural health product before you go to sleep at night to help you with sleep. It is a hormone produced by the pineal gland. Okay, so it's considered the darkness hormone, and it's a key circadian phase marker secreted during the night. So not only can we take it in supplemental form, but we produce it within our bodies, and it's a very important hormone. So some background information there. So we're going to be heading forward with those discussions. So that is, yes, melatonin. And then I also wanted to talk about circadian rhythms, which are 24-hour cycles within the body having to do with the maintenance of balance and health. So just like we have monthly menstrual cycles among females, there are daily biological cycles too, and these are termed circadian rhythms. And we know that chronic impairment of these rhythms has been shown to negatively impact health. So within circadian rhythms, we have the hypothalamus, which is a part in the brain, and it is the master circadian clock. And it is affected by environmental light exposure. Okay, so let's move on now to some of the physiology and to grasp a better understanding of how our bodies respond to light. So I find this very fascinating. So light, yes, it is important when it comes to being able to see and form those images, but it does a lot more than just that. So, in fact, there are two main purposes that light serves. So, the first being the image forming response, which is where we see the cone and rod photoreceptors being important. And that's all about capturing those images and then sending that info to the brain so they can be interpreted. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about seeing and sight and being able to look around and capture those images. The next big category is termed non-image forming responses to light. And they're pretty vast. So it's not just one. So we see pupil size adjusting being within this category. So again, so adjustments made to the pupil size are affected within this pathway. And then we also see adapting to the circadian clock. Okay, so that has to do with melanopsin and photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. So let's back up here, and we won't spend too much time here, but I just want you to know. So melanopsin is a photopigment, and it's these intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells that are major players when it comes to the non-image forming responses to light. So we see here with these snippets from the research that there does seem to be some overlap between these two areas, that being the non-image forming and the image forming. However, they are almost mutually exclusive. So we see in both ways. In blind people, non-image forming responses are still almost entirely preserved, meaning, we still see those changes in with respect to adaptation to pupil size and changes and influences to that circadian clock with people who can't see. And conversely, when we specifically X out the cells needed for the non-image forming responses, image forming responses remain nearly intact. So I find this fascinating, and so there really is a lot more to light than the eye can see. There's a corny one for you. Okay. All right, so let's keep going here. Let's see where I'm doing for time. Actually, you know what? We're going to wrap up from there, or wrap at that point. And next up, we'll be exploring blue light and why it matters. Like, why do I really care when we're talking about health? So that will be up next. Stay tuned.